Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Fly Tying Techniques. Okay, I hope everybody had a good holiday season, Merry Christmas, and all that good stuff. And hopefully, 2025 will be a little better for us. Tonight, we have a treat, Fred DuPre, who we all know and love, and he's been around a while. He is going to share some of his knowledge with us, dealing with foam flies and his own little bit of creativity. A little bit about Fred. He's been fly fishing and fly tying since 1958. He's fished in all 50 states, most Canadian provinces, and 11 countries. Past president and fly tying chair of the Dallas Fly Fishers, past board of director, treasurer, and fly tying chair for the Southern Council, FFI, past member of the Fort Worth Fly Fishers and North Arkansas Fly Fishers, current gold award recipient of the FTG Fly Tying Awards program and evaluator for all three award levels. Recipient of the 2015 Dick Nelson Fly Tying Teaching Award, current fifth term treasurer of the Fly Tying Group, developed and implemented the FFI Fly Tying Library, which contains thousands of high-quality fly tying instructional videos. Developed and implemented the online FFI Legends of Fly Tying program. Fly Tying chair for the annual Sowbug Roundup for 3 years. Also chair for the FFI Southern Council Annual Conclave for 2 years. Started the Charter Club of SCTX Fly Fishers and is a member of the San Gabriel Fly Fishers. Longtime member of the Roadkill Roundtable. Conducted fly tying classes for youth camps and Boy Scouts. Donated tens of thousands of flies to various cancer and military groups. Currently conducts weekly Zoom fly tying classes for seniors and conducted in-person fly tying classes and seminars for the past 6 years. Recently finished the Zoom webinar series of presentations called Legends of Fly Tying, featuring well-known FFI tyers. Past fly tying demonstrator and featured tyer for the Sowbug Roundup, the SOC Conclave, Texas Fly Fishing Fair, the Fly Fishing Show, and dozens of other shows around the country. Past Whiting Pro team member. Currently serving on the Fly Tying Program Committee, the FTG Executive Committee, Fly Tying Skills Award Committee, the Buzz Music Library Committee, and the FTG Fly Video Library Committee. And he was awarded the Buzz Music Memorial Fly Buzz Music, that's it, Memorial Fly Tying Award in 2021. So with that, if you all can see Fred, I'm going to turn the floor over to him. And Fred, the floor is yours.
Yeah, why don't we start off with the two pattern sheets, and
Okay.
you can put those up on the screen. I appreciate it. We're going to be tying two foam patterns that I designed some years ago, and one of them is a hopper pattern, and the other one is a frog pattern. And I'm going to take you through why I came to these types of designs, or especially the frog. The frog went through multiple iterations before I settled on a final frog, but I'll take you through. We're going to tie the hopper pattern first. So let me start first with the hopper pattern. Okay, this is I call it Fred's hopper. I'm not good on names, so I just it's the hopper pattern that I came about 20 plus years ago. I was fishing in the Yellowstone Park, and I always went to Blue Ribbon Fly Shop and met with Craig and the gang. And that time they had some new material out, and I was looking for some foam to tie a hopper pattern. And most foam is just like, one color. And I noticed that they had a foam that was multicolor. And let me just kind of show that to you. Okay. And what they did is they had a supplier right there in West Yellowstone that would glue two sheets together like that, and then use a metal ruler, put it on top, and then use a razor blade and cut real thin, long pieces that end up like this. Okay. And Craig carried that product for probably 5 more years until this guy, I think, died. and he couldn't get the material anymore. So I bought all what Craig had, and then after I ran out of that, I start making my own. And essentially, you put 3 sheets together, and you use this type of glue, 3M Super 77, and you spray each sheet and line them up, put them on one on top of another, and find yourself a good heavy book and let it sit overnight. And the next day, you can cut it. And so that's what I'm going to use today. I'm going to use this piece that I made and cut to tie this fly. So first of all, I'm going to be using a Mustad 9671 size 4 wet nymph fly hook. And I'm using 140 denier tan thread. And I'm going to lay a thread foundation on top of the hook. And by the way, when you're tying with foam, it's real important that you have a thread foundation on your hook shank. So if you use any super glue to secure it down, and that's not so much this hook, but when we get to the frog, you'll see why it's really important. So the first thing we're going to do is put in a tail. And I'm taking essentially some centipede legs, taking one strand of it and tying it on the rear. And there you go. And I'm going to shorten those legs to about slightly shorter than the hook shank length. The next thing is I'm going to use this this foam sheet, and I'm going to tie it in. And advance my thread to about the 2/3 mark. That's where my head is going to be. And then I'm going to take this foam and I'm going to not pull it hard. And I'm going to hold it as I wrap it so it doesn't move. And essentially you end up with a segmented body. Just like that. Everybody see that? And that's what I wanted. I wanted a nice segmented body of my hopper. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some couple of strands of gold crystal flash and fold it over a couple of times. and then cut it, and then tie it right here at the 2/3 mark. And then I'm gonna fold it over, just like that. And I'm gonna reach in there and cut it to length. And by the way, little hint here. This is a pair of Fisker's shears. You can get these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever, for about $7. I've been using this pair for probably 10 years, still sharp as can be. And when I'm tying big flies where I don't need to have a real pointy or precise scissors, I use these. Because I can cut anything with these scissors and not worry about ruining my good pair of Renomed scissors. So that's one item you might want to think about buying and keeping by your desk. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some deer hair for a wing. And I'm going to reach in there and comb out the underfur. And by the way, I just got this the other day from a company called Sightcast. It's a Florida-based company, and it's all metal, pretty heavy. It has a nice comb in the rear, has a nice brush, and it has a nice bodkin. So I'm going to
How do you spell that name, Fred?
Yep.
Fred, how do you spell the name, please?
Sightcast, SIGHT space CAST. So I'm going to take my stacker and I'm going to open it the direction I want the material to go. And I'm going to measure it. And I want it just right past the body. And I'm going to pre-cut it to length. Hold it on top. And tie it in. There's my wing, part of my wing. And the next part of the wing is I use a product called Web Wing. Here's the package. It's called Web Wing. And I cut the top wing out of this. It looks like this. Just like that. Okay. So I'm going to lay this over the top. And tie it down. So essentially you've got gold crystal flash, then deer hair, and then web wing. And that completes your wing. So I'm going to take this foam, double it over itself, and wrap down on it. Just like that. And the next step is I'm going to put on the thorax. And the product I'm using, you can use any type of chenille for the thorax, but I'm using a product that you can no longer get. I used to be on the team of Good Abroad, which they are out of business. They've been out of business for 15 years. And this product is called Easy Dub. So I'm a dub the thorax. And then I'm going to tie it off. Always hold your material up to cut it off so you won't cut your thread. Then I'm going to take this foam, fold it over the top, take about 4 wraps like that, and then bring the thread to the back of the thorax and fold it over. And that is your head or thorax. Last thing I'm going to do is, oh, by the way, you keep these little things. This is not long enough to make another fly, a hopper, but these are great little beetle pieces of foam to make beetles, and it's got built-in cider. So, okay, next I'm going to put in some legs on both sides. I'm going to select 2 pieces of rubber legs and tie 2 on one side and get 2 more. And tie those on this side. And then I'm going to take my thread, move it up right here behind the eye, make a few wraps, take my whip finisher, finish it off. And now the legs, early on when I tied this pattern many years ago, I got real fancy and tied knots in the legs, and had you guys know how to do all that stuff, and make really good looking legs. The fact is, it doesn't make any difference when you fish this fly. Those good looking legs and these legs do not make a difference. I'm going to trim these legs. Bring them down here. And trim the length. There you go. Trim the front ones, the length. There you go. I used to live in on the White River in Arkansas, wonderful trout river. And this fly I used a lot, especially in the summer, and for big browns. And this is a great fly to catch big browns. It's also a good dropper fly. And anybody have any questions?
Hey, Rick?
Yeah.
Could you put up your, fly listing again?
Yes, we have one, Fred.
Okay.
And it's from Mike. And why not tie off the legs instead of going up to the eye?
Say that again.
It says, why not tie off the legs instead of going up to the eye.
You mean do a whip finish at right behind the thorax?
I don't know. I think maybe he means tying the legs further forward.
I think he wants you to tie it off where the legs are tied to the fly.
Yeah.
Correct. And you can. I just like whip finishing it right behind the hook eye.
Anybody wants these? Fred shared them with me so I could make the slides. I'll send me your email address and I will send you a list of them as well.
Fred, another question in the chat about when you make up your foam strips, how wide do you cut the strip?
2.2 millimeters. It was on a micrometer. Any other questions? Okay, we'll move ahead to the next fly. This next fly went through an evolution. This is the final. It's called Fred's Frog. And I'll get into why I designed it that way. Let me show you how I started. So if you can take your camera and take a picture of the screen, and that'll be your pattern sheet.
Okay, I'm going to turn it
Maybe
off,
you.
Fred.
The first thing I did is I was trying to design a frog pattern that would you could throw it anywhere in the worst conditions, in lily pads and grass and trees and brush, etc., and it won't hang up. Okay. I hate messing up a good location by having my fly get stuck on a log or stuck in some grass somewhere. And we've all done that. So one way to do that is to do hook point up, okay? And design a fly that would ride hook point up. The second thing I wanted to do was to have a lot of action in my fly. And so I came up with a method of having legs and feet for the fly. And when you pull through the water, those feet are cupped, if you can see, and the water catches them, and the thing actually goes through the water kicking like that as you pull it through the water. The other thing is I wanted to do was to have something with little noise. So I used doll eyes, the cheapest eyes you can have, and they have noise. And then for the body, I used a plain crease fly pattern for the body, along with some rubber legs. So that was my initial design, and it worked pretty well. And I caught a lot of fish on it. By the way, I'm in Georgetown, Texas, and I used to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And there was a guide in our Dallas club for Lake Fork, and I would tie these flies for him in bulk, and he would use them in his guide trips, and quite successfully. And every now and then he would call me up and says, I got an opening, you want to come fishing with me? And it was a free guide trip. So all I did is kept them in flies, and I get free guide trips. That was a sweet deal. So that was my original concept right here. And it rides hook point up and the legs kick. The next iteration of that is I wanted something that would, it's got if you look at the original pattern, it has a cupped face. So it just makes a popping sound. I wanted something to make a gurgling sound. So what I did is I opened that up, and I, back by the gills, I left an opening, and when the water went through, it made a bubble trail. And that was a hot deal. And So that was iteration number 2. Stop me if you got any questions. Same legs and everything, same tail, same foam. And then iteration number 3, it got pretty radical. Became this one. And this one, I used, I believe it's 3 millimeter foam. No, what's the size of the foam, Rick, on a pattern? I forgot.
6 millimeter.
6 millimeter, thank you. 6 millimeter foam. And I had to find a hook. I used the same crease fly device to cut them out. I think everybody has seen these. I think it's River Roads puts these out, and you can stamp out foam bodies. And so I used the same thing to stamp out the bodies, but they're flat. Okay. So I needed a hook that would be big enough for this fly because it's slightly bigger than the prior patterns. And so I came up with a saltwater popper, 2x heavy, 4x long, kink shank stainless hook. I think it's made by Tiemco. It's a model U505. It's a 2/0 hook. And the reason I did that is you'll see right away when we start tying the fly, it has a kink shank. And on popper bodies, you want to have a kink shank. So when you put it together, the body itself doesn't roll around or get loose on you. So anybody have any questions before I start tying? Oh, one more thing. In order to keep this thing hook point up, I had to create a sort of a counterbalance process that would flip this fly over 9 times out of 10. And you'll see that you'll have a bead, a tungsten bead, and a tungsten bullet weight down here at the bottom. So it's to keel this fly over to ride hook point up. It also, I wanted that rattle noise. These two, as you pull them through the water, they clack one another and makes a clicking sound as you pull it through the water. Same thing with the legs, cup feet, and they kick in the water. The only downside of this fly is a couple of downsides, but the first one is you got to put this fly in a box so it holds its shape. And so I put them in these boxes like this, 1 fly per box. Okay. And that way the legs don't get bent. The second thing that's a problem is these little feet. This thing's sitting out in the water, and out of nowhere, the bluegills show up, and they start pecking and chewing on these little feet. I actually put some size 10 hooks on the back of these little feet and was catching bluegill like crazy. I just did that for a whim. Actually caught a bass one time when the bluegill was biting the feet, and I got the bass and the bluegill simultaneously. So this is my design. So let me start tying. So anybody have any questions yet? Okay. I'm going to use, you can use any type of thread. I'm going to use a 140 denier thread, and I'm going to put a nice thread base. Remember what I said about foam? You need to have a good thread base on the hook shank. It's because when you put the super glue down and you super glue on a thread, you want that super glue to dig in the thread and the foam. And so I go all the way to the back. Well, and I don't. I go right about to there. Okay. Okay, next thing to make the legs, I use a 30-pound hard mason mono, and that comes in two different size spools, a large spool and then this small spool. And I find that by using the small spool, as you notice, as I pull it off the spool, it's already got let me cut it off. It already has a set in it that makes it look like this, round circle. And you want that for the legs. So what I do is I hold these two together and cut it right in the middle, and I have two legs. Okay. So I'm gonna take a pair of flat nose pliers and flatten out one end of it a little bit. And I'm gonna tie it to where it is at 90 degrees from the side of the hook. Okay. That's 90 degrees from the side of the hook. Okay. I'm gonna take the other one, do the same thing. Flatten it down. And do the same thing, tie it in on the side of the hook shank. And believe it or not, well, we got one more thing to do before we tie off. I'm gonna take a little bit of super glue and a little bit about super glue. I've got two bottles here, one thick and one thin. Each bottle costs $6 a bottle. They have 1 ounce in it. And I bought this, what you get from the fly shop, Zappa Gap. It's $7 a bottle, and it has 1/4 of an ounce. So if you're using a lot of super glue, it pays to, buy these larger bottles, and you get a pretty good deal. So I use a thin. And then I'm gonna take these two, let me see, these two legs, and I'm gonna hold them together, and I'm gonna cut them right there at the apex where let me see if I can come down a little bit. Let's see. Right there where it starts to turn down. And you end up with that, okay? Those are the two legs. Last thing we're going to put in is a little rubber skirt. And I'm going to cut it so it won't foul my little feet. So I'm going to cut a little bit short, okay? Okay, you won't believe this, but this is all the tying there is to be done on this fly. the rest of this fly is gluing. So I'm gonna tie this off. And don't need any of that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put some legs on. And so you just take 2mm foam, do a little square, and this square is approximately 3/4 of an inch square. And then you're gonna cut a diagonal in that square. So you end up with two pieces like this. And then you're gonna take some tweezers that are self-closing, and you're going to take your thin super glue and put a small amount and fold that over like that. And put it in your clamp. And let me see. Everybody see that? Okay. I'm gonna let that dry. I'm gonna do the next one. A little super glue. Fold it over, get my other clamp. And there's little foot number 2. So you put those off to the side.
Fred,
And
when you did the feet, was there a special cutter that you used
No.
to cut them, or
No,
just made
just-
a triangle?
Just a 3/4 inch square, and then cut it on that diagonal.
Thank you.
No special cutter. Okay, now I've got this hook in the vise where this top part of the hook is actually the belly of the fly, and the bottom part is the top of the fly. So I'm going to have to cement this like this on the fly, okay? The best thing you can do is take it, and I'm looking at it from above, and get it centered and push down on it. And when you push down on it, it shows you where that hump is in your hook. Then you take your super glue and you use thin. Do not use thick when doing this. And it doesn't take much. So the first part, I'm going to line it up, put it there. And then I'm going to take the second part, put super glue on it. Get over the top of it. Line it up, make sure they're even. And before it sets, then you squeeze. Okay. And you hold it for a while. It sets up. And if you see any openings like that, like I got in the back here a little bit, throw a little super glue in there. And hold it down. Now, you can take these clamps and remove the feet, and you can open these clamps and hold them down. Okay, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to work on the feet next. And so I've got these two legs sticking out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these little feet and apply some super glue in the feet, in the cups of the feet. And you're always going to get super glue on your fingers, by the way. When I tie these, a bunch of them, I spent a week with a knife trying to get the super glue off my fingers. Okay, same thing. Pour a little super glue in that cup. And you stick the mono into that cup. And it takes a little while to dry. While it's drying, let me see if this is dried. Yep. Okay, the body's ready to go. So this part right here is the bottom, the yellow part. Let me see if I can move my camera around so you can see this. And so I'm going to put the keel system on the bottom. So I'm going to take a bodkin and make a little hole on the back of the body, and then make a little hole in the front of the body. Then I'm going to take some super glue, put it on one end. And just a little more. Okay. Now let me readjust my camera. Okay. So that's drying at this point. Let me get the surplus off. So I'm going to take and put, first thing is a bead, tungsten bead. This is I believe, I forgot how many millimeters this thing is, but. And then I'm going to take a tungsten bullet head weight that you use for bass fishing on. Then I'm going to measure this to where it's at an arc about like this. And then I'm going to cut it. Add a little super glue. Stick it in a hole. Add a little bit more super glue to that hole. And there's the counterbalance weight system. Put this back in here. By now the feet have dried. Let me move that down. And you got your counterbalance. The last thing to do, well, second to last thing to do is put some eyes on. And I use, I'm going to use some thick super glue to set the eyes in. And I'm going to here the eyes of my thumb, see. Put a little drop here on the side. And hold it there. And then a little drop on the other side. Hold it there. And basically have eyes. Last step is if you want to make it look pretty for the fisherman, because right now this thing will fish just like perfect. But you can take and put little marks on the top and make it look like a leopard frog. Like that. And that completes the Fred's frog. Anybody have any questions? No one
Yeah,
wants to say-
somebody wanted to know where you what the name of that or the brand of that super glue is that you were using.
It's made by Extreme Power out of Oklahoma City.
It's pretty common in the hobby stores.
Yep.
If you want to get really fancy, go to a woodworking store that does lathe work or that sells lathe products, and they've got some super glue like you've never seen before.
Now, when you fish this fly, you're going to have to use some at least 25-pound test tippet. And I'll tell you why. Because you have these legs sticking out here, when you go through your cast, if you have real light tippet, it's going to helicopter on you as you pull it through the cast, forward and backwards. And it's the last thing you want to do because it'll twist your leader and your tippet up. So by having at least 25-pound, I use 30 actually, test tippet and leader, it does not helicopter on you, doesn't twist it up. You're going to use heavy stuff anyway. If you're throwing this, in the junk along the bank, and you get a fish, you need some heavy leader and tippet to haul this thing out of the junk anyway. So, any other questions?
Another super glue that you can use that I've started using is a Loctite sells both super glue and super glue gel, and it comes in a little control bottle, so you can get a drop at a time with it. It works pretty
Right.
good.
There's another one I use, and that's Gorilla Glue. It's got a brush and a nozzle.
Yep, I use that as well.
Yep. And this one here is a little hint. Every time I get a bottle of super glue that has threaded top, I take out a jar of Vaseline and I grease all the threads inside and out. And the reason for that is if you get any super glue that starts dripping down and drips on those threads, you'll end up just like this Zap-A-Gap. You can't get it open. I forgot to do that on this Zap-A-Gap. This is a brand new bottle of Zap-A-Gap. And I used it one time and it is solid. I had 2 pairs of vice grips and I still can't get it open.
I've actually ripped the top off those things,
Right.
trying to get them apart.
Yep. So use Vaseline. You can also use what do you call it? You put on your thread. Wax. The wax to wax your thread. You can wax the threads of the super glue. The only problem is getting inside the threads with your wax is a little difficult. That's why I use Vaseline. So
yeah. And I don't know if anybody doesn't know how to get rid of super glue off your fingers, or if you got yourself stuck to like a piece of foam, but fingernail polish remover works really good for that. Or if you just simply have acetone in your shop, that's the same thing as fingernail remover, fingernail polish remover. Yeah.
They also sell a debonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, to tell you the truth, don't waste your money because the debonder is about the same thing as acetone.
Yep.
So,
Hey, Fred, the metal comb / brush, where did you get that again?
there's a company in Florida called Sightcast.
Sightcast. Thank you.
Yeah.
No wonder I couldn't get it. I spelled it wrong.
SIGHTCAST. Let me see if I can get it close enough.
Yeah,
See
it's
it?
got a lot of handy things with it. Oh, okay.
I mean, it's pretty substantial. You know, I have another plastic one, and I forgot where I got it. That's a small little brush, comb, and it's just not as sturdy as this. So, plus this thing has a bodkin, a brush, and a comb. So
Nice. Looks like it's fairly heavy duty.
it is.
They call it the Ultimate Bodkin from Pat Reeves. He just posted that to everybody.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm trying to remember, Fred, the millimeter size of that foam that you were using on
6.
the frog.
The body is 6 millimeter,
6. Okay.
and the
With a die cut.
yeah, and the feet are 2 millimeter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, and this is the device that I cut them with. And make sure you use the let me find it here. It comes with a little rubber pad.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you use that because it will cut into your wife's dining room table. I can tell you from firsthand.
The guy that makes them and sells them now is out of Stevensville, Montana, not too far away from here.
Yeah, the one that makes these are River Roads Creations.
Yeah.
Here, right there.
And they're the best you can buy. I bought some other ones and they weren't nearly as good as these are.
And the one I use for this fly is a 1/0.
Yeah, they also make a really great press that you can put in those cutters and press out a whole ton of those foam bodies.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Any other questions of Fred? Or any questions in general? Any final words, Fred?
Nope, just thank you all for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It was a very good presentation. I enjoyed that. I don't do much foam, so it was kind of interesting to see how you manipulated all of that.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions after this, my email is FlyTyer FRED Fly Tyer Fred at gmail.com.
Hey, Brad, there was
Yeah.
one question that was asked earlier.
Sure.
Do you have any other favorite color combinations you use other than the brown and yellow?
Yeah. Black.
Black and yellow or?
No, just black. Black feet, black everything.
Hmm.
And I use that at night.
Makes sense.
Yeah, you'll catch, I think, from a bass standpoint, a lot more at night than you do during the day, especially on a day that's a bluebird day. And black shows up the best at night. It's got a great, it has a nice profile.
So that's for both the big one and the original hopper, correct?
No, just the frog.
Okay.
Yeah. The hopper, I like the tan and yellow stripe. So I basically, buy a huge sheet of yellow and one of tan, and they're 99 cents a sheet.
Mhm.
And you get a million of them off that sheet. So,
Yeah. Glue them together and away you go.
yep.
So,
Great ideas. Thank you.
okay. Thank you again, Fred. And
Welcome.
any other questions for anybody? Okay. Last thing, our next session is January 21st. We get the pleasure of Chris Johnson out of Texas. I can't remember the name of his fly shop down there.
Living Waters Fly Shop.
Living Waters. Yep. He is kind of the expert on
Cackle.
tackle and feathers, and he's real close to whiting, and he's going to come in and talk to us all about everything he knows about hackle. And I guess the presentation is really well done. So
Mhm.
if you want to learn about fly tying feathers and how to use them and the differences and stuff, that's the class you really need to go to. With that, any final questions? I will bid you all a fair adieu, and thank you so much for spending your time with us tonight. We appreciate it. And I thank you all again. Good night.